Well, we have an issue because now we're hearing that millions of people will be kicked off of Medicaid very soon. Because according to Speaker Mike Johnson, he's saying that the United States is going to eliminate people on Medicaid that are not eligible to be there. Well, we're going to discuss this because what he said just the other day is actually shocking many people, and some of which are scared that their benefit may be going away. But here's the crazy thing. 1 out of 5 Americans that are currently on Medicaid don't even realize that they're getting help from the state and federal government. They think it's just free health insurance, where in reality, it's being paid for by taxpayers. So, we're going to break this down in just a moment, explain what is going on and how millions and millions of Americans could be kicked off of Medicaid very soon. So, if you want to stay updated on all this stuff, all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So it's crazy to think that this is going to happen, but Speaker Mike Johnson says that the United States must eliminate people on Medicaid who are not eligible to be there. But why would he say that? Well, it's simple. The Republican Party has been saying this for quite some time, that they are going to strengthen programs like Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP. They're going to strengthen those programs. But at the same time, they say they aren't going to cut people off. Here's the key. They are not cutting people off that are eligible to receive these benefits. But if you are not eligible, and I'm going to address this in just a moment, if you are one of these people, well, you should be scared because these benefits may be going away very soon. But listen to this. This was actually about a month ago. Listen to what Speaker Mike Johnson had to say.
Yeah, so look, let me clarify what we're talking about with Medicaid. Medicaid is hugely problematic because it has a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse. Everybody knows that. We all know it intuitively. No one in here would disagree. We had a hearing in budget just last week, or week before last, and they asked the experts, and the estimate is, I think it's $50 billion a year in fraud alone in Medicaid.
$50 billion a year from fraud alone for Medicare. That's concerning. And again, the reason why that they're talking about this at this time is simple. They're trying to figure out a way to ensure that these programs don't become insolvent. That these programs are not at that point where we have to kick people off that are eligible because we don't have the money. Because right now, the deficit hawks are looking at every single one of these programs. And they're telling President Trump, they're telling Speaker Mike Johnson that we can't continue with this. We can't continue to fund these programs by going into debt. Let's keep listening, though.
Those are precious taxpayer dollars. Everybody is committed to preserving Medicare benefits for those who desperately need it and deserve it and qualify for it. What we're talking about is rooting out the fraud, waste, and abuse. Every taxpayer, it doesn't matter what party you're in, you should be for that because it saves your money and it preserves the programs so that it is available for the people who desperately need it.
Now, I want to jump in here really quick. He's saying that we need to, have that money. We need to safeguard these programs for the people that truly need it, for the American citizens that are needing this, veterans, okay, people that are disabled, the elderly, children, right? We need to ensure that people that absolutely need this are getting it. So guess what's going to happen? They are now trying to send people back to their home countries, deport millions of people that have come into the United States illegally and are receiving certain benefits. Now, I don't know how much this is going to add up to. This is something that we will slowly start to see. There's some projections out there, but they're really all over the map. But what I can tell you is Republicans are looking at ways to bring down expenses, to ensure that these programs are there, not just for the next 2 to 10 years, but for the next 25 to 50 years. Let's keep listening.
That's what we're about. And that's what you're going to see happen. We want to make sure that illegal aliens who do not qualify are not on the rolls, and we know that they are in many places. We can achieve a lot of savings with that. We can eliminate all these fraudulent payments and achieve a lot of savings. What you're doing with that is you're shoring up the program, and you're making sure that the people who rely upon that have it, and that it's a better program. That's what we're talking about. You've heard the president say that. You've heard members of the House Republican Conference say that. And no one else has said anything else, except the Democrats who have ads out that are lying about the intention here.
Now, I want to play you another clip. This is actually from yesterday. So this is Speaker Mike Johnson. He's talking with on Sunday Morning Futures. This is on Fox News. Listen to this. Let me know your thoughts.
That we're going to protect Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid for people who are legally beneficiaries of those programs. There are a lot of Americans who rely upon those programs, and we've got to ensure that they're safeguarded. That's a big priority of the White House and the Republicans in Congress. At the same time, we have to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. We have to eliminate people on, for example, on Medicaid who are not actually eligible to be there. Able-bodied workers, for example, young men who should never be on the program at all.
Now, we're going to get to more of this in just a moment, but keep this in mind. Able-bodied Americans, able-bodied people that can actually work, young men that can actually go to work but yet choose not to because they just want to collect Medicaid. This is the problem. And we've seen this before. You see it on TikTok all the time where people are pretty much bragging about how they're gaming the system. They're receiving Medicaid checks, and on top of Medicaid checks, they're working under the table and getting paid cash. Yeah. And people are like, yeah, you go for it. Yeah, you go and stick it to them. Guess what? They're sticking it to us. We are the ones paying for this. And this is why this is so troubling, is because many people don't realize that those that are getting certain payments, that they don't even realize it's coming out of their paycheck. Look at this right here. It says 1 in 5 Americans are on Medicaid, and some enrollees have no idea. I want to show you this, okay? This is the reason why many people don't realize that they're actually receiving Medicaid. It's one reason is that state programs aren't always called Medicaid. Many states have rebranded their programs with consumer-friendly names such as Sooner Care in Oklahoma, Apple Health in Washington, Medi-Cal in California, and even TennCare in Tennessee. States are changing the name, which now people don't realize. Oh, okay, here in Washington State, it's called Apple Health. That's essentially Medicaid. It's for lower income earners, people with disabilities. That's who it's for. Let's keep listening to Speaker Mike Johnson from yesterday, though. Listen to this.
When you have people on the program that are draining the resources, it takes it away from the people that are actually needing it the most and are intended to receive it. You're talking about young single mothers, down on their fortunes at a moment. The people with real disabilities, the elderly, and we've got to protect and preserve that program. So we're going to preserve the integrity of it in this process. We have lots of categories of areas where the government is too large, it does too many things, and the DOGE efforts and others have highlighted that for the American people. So in this process, you're going to see in 11 different committees of jurisdiction across the House, members working hand in hand with their sleeves rolled up, working to carve out those inefficiencies. We're going to make government work better for the people in this legislation, in addition to checking all those boxes I mentioned earlier. So it could be the most consequential piece of legislation that Congress has dealt with in many decades, and arguably one of the most in all of its history.
So there you go. This could be, and they're talking about the big, beautiful bill, something that President Trump wants to get passed soon. Speaker Mike Johnson is going to talk about this in just a second. He is going to address when they plan to pass this bill. And here's the thing. Once they pass this bill, or once they bring it to the floor of the House and the Senate, what we're going to see is many different changes. And the reason why this is such a big deal is because once this bill hits the floor and we see the different line items, we see the potential changes to Social Security, to Medicare, to Medicaid, to SNAP, to everything in between. Once we see that, that is then up to the American people to then contact their state representatives and either vouch for it, right, support it, or say, no, this isn't something I want. And then those state representatives will come back to Congress and they'll say, you know what? my citizens, my residents, constituents, they don't want that. This is what we want. This is what our state residents want. Okay, so again, there's still time. Let's keep listening though.
So when you come back, the committees will get to work in terms of a surgical way to identify what to cut so that you can actually get that bill to the president's desk. Are you still counting on getting that bill by the end of May?
Yeah, the timing's critical, Maria, because for all the reasons you know and you've discussed on your show all the time and that we know, we have to show that stability to the markets. We have to send a message to the bond market, the stock market, investors, to our allies around the world and our enemies as well, that America is on sound fiscal ground. And so we can bend the debt trajectory curve, get us back on a path to fiscal sanity and do all this. But the timing is important. The reason I put Memorial Day as our deadline is because the sooner we get it done, the better. It will.
Okay. So the sooner we get done, the better. Keep in mind what you just said. We need to make sure we need to bring some confidence back to the American people, but also to people across the world as well. That right now, many people don't have a lot of confidence in the United States. And here in the United States, most people don't either, because we do not know which direction we're going. We don't have this big, beautiful bill. We don't know if it's going to get passed or what's going to be in it. We don't know if there's going to be cuts to programs like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and SNAP benefits. We have no clue. All we know right now is they're working on it, and once it gets a little bit more finished and polished, then we'll see it. But again, a lot of question marks right now. But the reason why I bring this up is because, yes, Medicaid is one of those things that it's not necessarily on the chopping block, but like Speaker Mike Johnson just said, Republicans and Democrats as well, they want to ensure that this is a sound program, that this is not going away in the next few years, that this is something we are going to have for decades. But again, that's where we're at as of today. A lot of question marks, a lot of uncertainty, and right now, no answers. So, as we get more information on this, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates. But that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.